Okay, Black Value. I don't know what we call this, but it's a conversation. I got my sister up in here. She's gonna introduce herself. It's a long shot. We should have had this conversation way earlier, and I would love that we're gonna start this. We continue with it. Introduce yourself.
Hey, myself, poetic soul.
My school.
No, I'm poetic soul.
Yes.
I'm glad as well. I'm glad. I think for the longest time, we do as lives and we talk about issues. We call each other.
Yes.
We vent, we laugh. We need to fix this. We need to talk to this person. Da, 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 da. So I think it's nice that we finally get to be in a setting such as this and people hear our thoughts and we also get to, brainstorm with each other live,
I would love to see what this is going to mature to. Like whatever it shapes itself to be, I'm here for the ride and I want to see it and I want to take it to the next level.
So I think the most important thing is to start when we plant the seed. But what's important is really, really to just start and do something effective.
But it's when there's something happening around the scene as far as art is concerned, hey man, zafonelwa ngulelethu okanye zafonelwa ngubani uba into ethile senza iqala njani.
I think mhlawumbe sikhula sonke in the scene, right? And sifumanisa ukuthi as we grow together we get to learn to trust each other, to understand each other's intentions, and to be able to carry each other in situations. So ufumanisa when something is happening, there's no one else around you that could make sense of the situation other than your team. I mean, I'm the kind of person who believes I have people's numbers. You know what I mean? So rather than add on to the commentary of social media, I'd rather call you and say, yo, tell me this thing about the way can't we handle it a different way?
It gets
and
social media.
Yeah, so I'm like that.
I think the only way I engage is to disengage, which is not play the ball. Just not play the ball. Because when you go back in time and you think really when we started this thing, because our core recollections, our core Apple we can reference prior our arrival in the scene. I think the bold statement that was made by us, the younger generation, has to be the urban connection.
Yes.
That's where we met.
That's where we met.
Yeah,
that's where we met. Urban connection. Young girl. Young man.
But why what perform perform
I was not leaving that day.
You were leaving.
I wasn't going home.
That's why I'm like.
No, for real, I wasn't going. I wasn't leaving, but I was rather going outside for some air. But I think it was the first time I was performing for an audience such as that one. I mean, freestyle, it's hip hop, it's this. Because my friends had been saying, cooking away urban connection. So it was my first day there. And I remember getting there thinking, wow. And the guy, like it took me a while to know what weed smells like. But I got into that. I promise you, my sense of smell is not perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting into this place, and there's this smell that is thick in the air, right?
Yes.
It's dark, but you can see everyone.
Yes.
And no one is wondering what you're doing here. Because everybody's just lost in their own space. And I got into this space, and the first thing I said to myself is, this place smells like freedom.
Yes.
Hey,
so I think whoever missed the era or opportunity to go to the urban connection, I think they missed out, because it was the pulse. Your first performance was there. Unko is known around the Eastern Cape as one of the potent poets. He started there. His first poetry recital, which was Itongo, he started there. I think I went to the second one. I mean, I don't think I missed any other session.
That's why I met Nolita also.
Yes. And then he went to perform to
Nubia Mandomazana. That's why I made lots of connections with people. And I wasn't leaving. As I was still saying, I wasn't going anywhere, but I wanted to go. And funny enough, that's a habit I have carried with me like a part of you leaves you. You are in a trance, yeah. So when now we are puma, but like Thomas Abashmaeli, mandinciphe mna kwande wena. So I guess dancipha, and I felt it. I felt the passage while I was on stage, and in a state of panic, I wanted to feel myself coming back into it, and because this is something I had never experienced before.
It was strange.
Yeah, so that habit still is with me. So I wasn't leaving. I was really just trying to get some air. And I remember you coming through and saying, "Yo, we're recording." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll come." I'd never recorded at that time.
Yeah, there was Luke. Luke the vendor lab doing Mother Tongue. It's unfortunate that tape never got released. You know, because I felt in the back, there were like jams there. You know, like PE really came through, and at that time, I think PE as a space was very powerful. I mean, with what was happening, Urban Connection at the time made a lot of people want to come and start Abamba lapha Eastern Cape, bazofunda apha NMU or the colleges as lapha around, because it was a melting pot. And love was real there. What happened to that love that was being radiated there?
Oh, there was a brotherhood and a beautiful sisterhood. I remember even when you came through as a brotherhood, there was Juayu at the time. But underneath the umbrella there was a Kulika.
Yes.
I can never forget the energy, you guys. There was a day, a night, because it was Thursday night at Urban Connection. And that particular day, Prince you and Ohe took on the stage.
Yes.
And but I've never forgotten it. Stepped on the stage, grabbed the microphone, and there you went, Kululekani. We won in the shop, but we're still ripping it off.
Oh, yes.
Kululekani.
I think what man's view was like, last time in ball, was like, Kululekani.
We still beside that. We still carry on about it. Because it just showcased how Kululekani, for me, that was what I took away from it, is that it was a force. Whether niphelelo kanye niphelelanga, Ikhululekani was not Yakin, Ikhululekani was not Prince, and Ikhululekani was not Ohave, but Ikhululekani was an entity on its own. And that particular day showcased that, because you guys put yourselves aside and you still were shouting the name Ikhululekani. How did Ikhululekani come together? How did you guys decide to have that group?
What happened? Okay, I had this idea that, I couldn't, but like I always wrote, so I had this idea that like a group would have more impact. I was disappointed by a crew that I loved so much. It was MK.
Okay.
I loved MK, Competencies. Abantu, Bitology, G cause, Nahom, Melanie.
Okay.
Bavela bayeka la crew. Ngezinye politics zabo. We'll get to it ngelinye ixesha, ngezinye politics endisabathuka ngazo namhlanje. Bayeka lapho. So I had seen the power of the crew phaa kubo. So I felt in the bar, if sinokwenza i-crew man singa-right. And then Ohave became the first person in Zalteta night, because we went to school together. We did standard 6 and 7 together. So we went to speak. What yena ebesebenza nale apha kuyo next. So because Khululekani was supposed to be 5 minutes.
Sure.
And then I was like, I'm loving the image of Prince singing rap, and I would love for us to have that image. But because I've watched Mr. Machita, we didn't see him cipher. So I was like, okay, if we can add this and that element into this one crew, in a pop alone.
Sure.
And then I speak up, wabesithi naye Prince ukhona umuntu ebesebenza naye Philharmonic. So see the 5-member group. But then the other one, parliamentary, so ayizokwazi engage ngeli xesha. The other one, ifila xa kubhalwa, which is Philharmonic, xa kubhalwe enye, le concept iyafana nale concept, so le akazoyibhalela, so there are songs angikhoyo kuzo. And ungumuntu omane ungafumaneki. Then we went to record. Sahamba sayorekhoda noDwaya. Yeah, but after Dallas Maharas. And then it was 3 of us, and it became gay Kumekani all of us. And I remember still Glow Urban Connections, because I got Bendim, no Prince, Ibendim, no Nansik, no Have, and then there was a time, by 3, and then the 4th member, Naikon, and then one of us said on stage, he couldn't let go, he pelele. So that's how it was seen.
So with the 4th member being in the audience?
Yes.
My God.
Yeah, and that's how it was seen. I mean, there was no contract signed.
Yeah, true.
There was no contract signed. So,
but you guys carried the energy.
And I remember you used to follow it. You used to follow it.
I was a big fan. And because of the fact that when I stepped into the scene, you were one of the first people to grab me outside and say, he's a mother where Elise is out of court, or Prince was part of the welcoming committee. So as we're walking, no Prince mother, so and I'm like, wow, this guy is, I really,
He's one man that's very consistent.
And what role did Whoever play in your life? Because you guys were, Nani Omega and Son of said it was something to wonder over, to ponder about, to think on, to really be inspired by. But I also think on the other hand, it was something for me personally that I was like, and cannot contract that. So for me, it looked as though we cannot contract but how was the experience for you?
Funny enough, I went in and questioning, and the more I got answers, the more I was intrigued and pulled. It was more of a magnet. And for my life, before hip hop, before anything, very wide life. This is struggling. Cool. For me, there was 2 ways: prison, death, or any of those things. So for me, it came as like saving grace, if you may, saving grace. And it was able to put me on a sort of like a narrow path to say, look, this is what I'm doing. I now have a purpose. And I realized that being a youth, you have energy. You are energy.
Yeah.
It's either it's going to be tend to good or to negativity. So for me, because my reference point to Hebrewism became my band, right? Spent a lot of time with him, and then so almost time to funda, so we started because now it's just us. Understand why picky but Lena is picky sake, and for me, it's best 14 years of my life. Yeah. Best 14 years of my life, because it does not only come with lack of freedom as you have viewed, as you viewed it. It also, instilled a sense of pride and a sense of the confidence.
Sure.
And it also opened a lot of doors for me in terms of understanding myself, understanding the world, and also not being afraid to use my voice. But just teaching me about I met and I can do things.
And at any point, did you ever feel, because I remember there was a time I even had that conversation with BBM.
Oh, yes.
And him and I were chatting. I think I was on my way back from somewhere, and he had written a status that spoke about same-sex relationships and spoke violently against them.
Yes.
And at that time, I'm in a same-sex relationship, and I'm Ohe's friend. And I went to him and I said,
you were offended.
I was offended.
Yes.
And not more so because of against this, but rather in how he languaged it.
Okay.
Right? And at the time, there was this ongoing theme, spiritual warfare.
Yes.
And the audience, I'm in your guys' audience. I'm your guys' friend. But ingathi engena kula mode of spiritual warfare, but there are people who are close to me that might be affected by this. And I confronted them and I said, do you know that I'm your friend? Do you remember me as a person that I'm in the same space?
Yeah.
And do you at any point ever remember a time where you were now literally feeling that you were a force against, I would call it, mainstream people? Okay?
Yeah.
You know, was there ever a point where you felt us and them now and zombini is con?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Everything comes with teaching.
Because I tried hard to fight against that.
Nah, everything comes with teaching. You know, even in like churches, serious cool.
Yeah.
Okay, xa upha epulpitini ndihlabathi kodwa xa siphasi yakhalelana short sethu. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know. So it comes with the teaching. It was strict and the teaching was harsh.
Yes, you could tell.
It was very harsh at the time. And when you check it, no, but it was more lenient, good. But it was very harsh. It was crude. It was uncensored. And then as people understood and heard as new speakers, because it was the introduction,
yeah.
And then you get to learn, but no, this is a global community. So how do other people speak about which jurisdictions?
Yeah.
Then you get to understand that, hey man, there's something called divine diplomacy, where you suppose or you are able to speak nabantu and speak to their hearts, you know, because awukwazi uvela umntana uthi sinqoshe.
Yeah.
Uyazalwa lo muntu umfake inqoshe, umfake ibela, umfake nantoni, that child is not children.
Yeah.
And I feel we had offended a lot of people, and we had killed a lot of people who had the potential to join us because of how we tabled things and how we articulated. We're not so very articulate. Also, understand that these are 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, can't be the oldest, like 25 years old. These are young people, and they're getting this fascinating information, and they feel like God. And they're at the age where they are realizing the power and you're God. You know what I mean? So you don't really care.
But you could also see the confidence.
You don't really care about your family. You don't care about what your mother says.
Because you have a whole other community
what your
of
brother
friends.
says. It's like, yo, brothers are nice. You know what I mean? So like this went on even when I decided to get married. It's like, okay, I'm getting married, ne? But I've been a while. So I'm a brothers. And we did that. We did that. It's Lobolele now. I think it was 27 or something. I don't know, 26, 27.
I went to your wedding.
Yes.
My God.
Akavunywa ba. Yabo. Kwathiwa siphinde sibuye. Sabe sesibekile idate yomshado. Sachata. Yabo. So it was that kind of energy.
Yeah, it was young energy.
Yeah, because hence you want abantu abancinci to handle things the country because
No, I remember that force and now I think I loved you guys from the beginning. And then I got to know and I got curious. I research because there's no way you can fall in love with Bob Marley as an icon and not research what Rastafari is, right?
Yes.
So I took the time to research and find out. I was curious. I tried to make friends with some of the ladies. It wasn't easy to infiltrate the ladies.
Yes.
I'm not too sure if Nina bo ark nanyazi alone. I think I block. Yeah, but I tried to get to know what's what in the space because I knew that I'm going to mingle with the people in the space for a long time.
Yes.
But when I fought so much against Lando E.T.
That
sitting up.
Because you're always there.
Yeah, I was fighting against it consciously because I knew that I want to be a person amongst these people and I want them to be people in my life.
Yes.
And at the same time, I want us to understand that we can all be different but still love each other because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. But
yes.
And when we discover, I think when you performance and you organize, because you guys also carry the culture at the time.
Yes, yes.
When we discover when you performance, what was their group again?
Unlimited Insights.
Unlimited Insights. But because we're like, okay, this is wider, this is bigger. We start getting onto the internet. We want to know who Ben Ami is. We're researching, but we also grew from that, and we also got to understand Tina Bandu can start to stick with it. But okay, we want to find out who our friends are associating themselves with.
Yes.
We got to realize that a lot of you wouldn't have been the upstanding people as Mabonani without the teachings of that space. And that forced us not to his gains and understand where we come from. Because in a space where you're going to sit with a prince who's going to tell you that, when you start the ice cream, you must be able to say, I can't have an ice cream.
Yeah.
In an banana. So it didn't just teach you guys something. It taught those of us who were willing to learn to also know what we stand for. You know what I mean? And be able to not be frightened by what you guys stand for to such an extent that friendships is happening. So maybe this is my thank you to you guys. Because I'm stronger because of my force license and like that.
What you're talking about, so we went to where Mungamos look after recording. So we went to Joburg. Sifike pha sithatha sisiwa kulolu vuyo. Yabo luvuyo yayi kokwabo phi-5. Sifike pha. So luvuyo uyayazi but bese training the whole time. Yabo. Yeah, we probably hungry. So luvuyo sibeka phansi sihlale kuncokole. Kitchen smells busy. Fry amaqanda.
My God.
Songa simhlophe. Ikofu.
Oh man.
Asilungi nakwenye pha. So sasisokolisa. So this other time so the young parents were not recording. We were recording the EPs. Well, amancho mabras. Uhlala apha man uli. Yabo. Sunday yabo. Siye uli. Hey uli atzena lihayi. Said uli must be in the kitchen. Sponsor is brown egg. We call it peanut butter egg. When they come this one was none of chicken. Probably one. Yo, she was head high man. Aba macala amabili isikole hey man live wangaselokishini mina bukabe icala lingapha yabeka but izawunanseka yabo. So it was a fascinating journey. It needed strength. It needed you to be sure.
I remember I hosted Ian Kamau for Sunday lunch at my place, and Roche was also coming through, and Abantu was also. And I made this meal.
Yeah.
I made a meal. I had that's normal ngalo muntu badakwazi ukupheka. Ngamenzela man ngamanzi yakhe.
It was too raw. Ngayazi basingayisebenzisi oil. No, we starved ourselves. Singazazi bazezi.
Naslima ke wethu sanibukela. Naslima kwethu. And then you got married through the Hebrew.
Yes. Yeah, no, I went the whole
celebrations.
I went the whole 9 years. And then, hey man, I wanted to explore further because culture-wise, I think I was a serious type.
Yeah,
I was the serious type. Didn't talk much around people unless I'm on the podium and I'm gonna speak to you or whatever. Speak to people that I know that I'm comfortable with. And then I'm all up on the system. I'm married. We've just done a song. the sister. So my second wife. And now you read.
Yeah.
Hey, but the wife does not want to hear this thing. Now she sees an email. And this email, ndiyabuza mna leadership. Now uzawuconsiderisha the second wife. Funeke ube ukwephi ndawo spiritually, physically, and all-wise. She saw that. And that's where the trouble began. Yeah, that's where the trouble began. You know? But ebevumile nje ngolaa xesha beku-absorption nansi period. Into yoba sikule culture, and kule culture lena ngikhona i-polygamy. And then I eventually went out because I wanted to save the family. Because in terms of dreaming about having cars, big houses and whatnot, one thing I always dreamt about was having a family. Growing up, family yami, sister wami ungapha, wami ungapha, uyabona ngihlala kumakazi, phinde ndiyobekwa kwelinye icala, ndiphinde ndiyobekwa kwelinye icala. I always wanted to have that stability and my own family in one space. So I was like, let me take that side. I fought and I couldn't.
Yeah, because
hey man, yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful girl you married.
Hey. No choice,
what a beauty.
No choice.
Oh man, it was so pretty. It was really pretty. But how did then the whole, because I know how much you loved your children. How did that affect you in terms of your relationship, your offspring, divorcing?
No, there'll never be a bond broken between me and my kids. Anything can, I'll die before that happens, you know. But there's blame because yeah, but it's not as easy to reach them. Because they live somewhere. I have to travel 3 hours, 4 hours to get there, you know. Yeah, but then my kids are my kids, man. She turned 13 yesterday. Come on.
Yeah. And the entire divorce proceedings, how taxing were they? I remember the time. I could not even reach you much. I think I made one phone call, if I remember properly, to just check on you because I've been hearing jail. I've just been.
I started drinking.
You started drinking.
And I started smoking.
Like most former Hebrews.
Yeah, I started drinking and I started smoking. I drank every day. Because, you know, there's a difference. I think women prepare themselves when they're going to move from a relationship.
I hear this a lot.
They prepare themselves.
Actually, I find it odd that men don't do it.
But make it path. I think in a man generally say I move.
Yeah.
So for me, leaving my house at 11 p.m., I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm leaving now. And I take a spot back, put everything there. Quietly. Hlanganyela sulenye 60 yaphi yalaki. Ngoze festival laki kavule. Hello fanele busuku apha. Sizohlala. Yabo. Phelile la way. And the way man, tension happening. Yabo. And the kids don't know how to act. They love us both. And then now, call attention. Those are the map. Yabo, like, I like color. So you know what? Man, moving. Yabo, man, moving. You just, like, keep this. You know what I'll do is, because I already resigned this is fine in my place. Because then I answer, you want, okay, almost resign. And can answer man understand that because I was holding on to these things because I've got this family here. So let me go and explore my things as well. And again, you can't keep me low on a relationship. You know, you want a divorce? I must dude, let's divorce. Get your freedom. You understand? Because leeway, I span, and I just span. And then I caught. I'm tired of things. I'm divorce forms. Get the divorce forms. Nas was father. His father okay. Now sheriff phone trick. Sheriff man efike ngeke. Andifonela udithi sheriff. So nditrika. Sheriff ithi uzawufika ngemini ethile.
Yeah.
So that I wait for you. Yeah, and then I can't find that. No, you know what, Sheriff? We're gonna go there. You take care, you go there, you sign these things in your office.
Yeah.
I didn't even enter the courtroom. I was like, okay, you happy with what you wrote there? Okay, it's fine. Let me read it. It's fine. I signed.
It was painless. Not painless, but seamless.
At that time, I don't see that thing of, like, dude, I was probably 35, something. I don't know. Yeah, 35.
It was scary.
And then, it's scary. Because you dream about that person.
Because you can't marry thinking that an end is coming.
You dream about that person years after. You think about those things. There's this pastor who said, divorce is like losing someone. The pain that you feel with divorce is the same as losing someone to death. But now the difference with this is, we are born.
My God.
This is too sad. And then you get to relive that thing. You meet that person, everyone's listening to this and that and whatnot. And then you have kids. Remember this other time, walking in Bay West, and man, the little one steps into the middle. Mama him, grabs my hand, grabs the understanding my kid, does to my knees. And then Mama is like, I'm like, okay, later on. Don't do that. You know where you stand. I know where I stand. So when this kid is doing this thing, give that kid that satisfaction at that time.
Yeah.
She wants to see that thing at that time. Give her that thing. Yeah, but because now if you're gonna be like, alright, bro, we need that bamba. We turn that bamba.
Yeah.
It's not like a choke on you.
And so that's that. Like, there's never any going back.
To what?
To the pretty lady.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like that answer. I'm happy with that.
It's life. Like life is a constant journey. It's circle. You moving. You don't know what you're gonna do tomorrow. Okay, you know because you're podcasting right now. But
you keep moving.
You don't know about who you're gonna meet and how your life will change.
Yeah.
From the encounter A1, day one, it changes your life.
I like that statement you're making. We move it. We keep moving. Yeah. Because even now, as an artist, you moved. You found another way to express yourself, to be part of hip hop.
Yeah, it's important to never get married to ideas. It's very important that.
Get married to people?
Yeah. Because you never know. Yeah, you never know. Your stand-up dude today would be the one with the knife when Unansika inhale your last breath. So you never know. And yet, that's a luxury. So we know these things. Yeah. Takes me back. What did you do for me, guys?
We keep moving.
What did you do for me?
I wanted to do photography.
And you were passionate.
I loved it. I remember I even got a video camera for my 21st and I'm there.
It was 14 scene.
I was really passionate about it. I really wanted to do it. Then No Generations, the New Horizons advertising agency. I thought that's what I would do. And thank God I didn't eventually. Thank God I went and I studied law. And because later, 2013, now I'm the site. What would I have done had I followed photography?
But don't you think your images would have been iconic?
Maybe next. That's the truth. They would have.
Because from 2003,
2013.
That's a long time with the camera in your hands.
Yeah, it would have been a very iconic, but what else would I have? That's why I'm saying thankfully I didn't do it. professionally, in the sense that, I mean, I always had a camera with me when I went to in Zimbabwe, and I would always take videos of people, and for festival, I'd always be there with a camera. But then I was like, I'm glad I went and I studied my law. I'm glad I heeded the call of writing and performing poetry. I'm so glad that's what my life turned out to be, because without the photography, I still have
right now you're speaking as someone who have dealt with this, understood it, counseled themselves, probably went for counseling, got to understand. But like the first time, you're like, shit. Like how did it feel? It's like, hey, man, man. How did it? Like first time you realize it, like shit, I'm lonely.
I am at Hamburg, speaking my friend for answer. And hey man,
I answer something.
No, my man. Kufazi, affirmation about a particular this eye, the right eye. So in the evenings, I wouldn't see as easily as I would during the day. But I'm not panicked because I can still see.
Yes.
And I come back home after that. I go see a doctor. Doctor prescribed medication. I went to see a doctor actually because of headaches. Okay. Doctor prescribed the medication. I think the headaches didn't really dissipate because of the medication. But I'm just managing them. This one weekend, traditional ceremony. This is a week after Lamselins, I go to a tinacha to take note. We go to listen, to take note, jazz.
Take note is the trumpet guys, all live.
Yes. By the time I had to come home, got home, I've gotten so cold, tired, and cranky, and I have a fight with my partner. I wake up in the morning with the headache of all pounder up at the back of my head. Because it's just a lot. And I'm realizing now it's very, very fuzzy. I can still make out my way around the house, but I can't see it properly. And I call my mom, I'm in tears, and I'm like, yo, girl, I don't know what's going on. I've got a headache, the worst I've ever had, and I can't see it. So we just say, we'll come pick you up. Call another friend, and I know, just come down, let your parents come and whatnot. And we leave, we go to see a doctor. No, in fact, because that's the most traditional slow. We go there, and this lady says, and that's why and it wasn't a shocker to be told in Dwaso, because when I perform, they always say, when I'm like, no, I'm not. And they cool in the right. But I got to understand that there's a healer in somewhere, so it didn't come as a shock. And I mean, as artists, they talk about the so Nalando you just humble yourself. Give thanks. Yeah. So we went then to see a doctor, and the doctor tested blood pressure and what you were at stroke. You were there because your blood pressure is so high, such that it's then went to different, specialists and whatnot. The last.
So the headache,
pressure. And we went then to a neurologist. Neurologist does tests, discovers that my cerebral tonsils are hanging low. This is a condition that's most common in women. So women must do cerebral tonsils. women must be very careful with headaches because it's very common for the tonsils to be hanging a bit lower than normal. And gradually over time, things will happen, whether you failure your muscles, whether you don't, but things will happen stemming from cerebral tonsils.
Is there a way you can, like, if they're hanging low, is there a way you can just
take them higher? I don't know. I never got to find out. I really never got to find out.
Tonsils defeat now.
Yeah. So I ended up basically was on the neurosurgeon to see if they can't operate in Zambia to try and bring back the sight or whatnot. But honestly, they don't know any science that can heal the optic nerve damage. And we went to the neurosurgeon. He was a young man, very bold character. I'll never forget him. He sounded very tall and muscular. We went in, we went in, and this guy says, "Yes, so I looked at your case. This is what happens." I said, what do you think? And I'm curious. What are you seeing? And this guy says, "Man, I can't operate on you. I honestly cannot give you a guarantee that your sight will return when I operate on you. And you're not the type of person whose life should be cut short by me trying to experiment on you and whether your sight can return." So you are excited about life. I was laughing, I'm happy, I can't I'm with my friends and all. And at that time, my partner had begged me to not allow an operation to happen. And my dad was not comfortable with it, scared of it, so nobody wanted it to happen. And I was like, you know what? These niggas don't want it to happen, it's not going to happen. And we left. That was the last that was on the site, and then it's going to come back. And then there's a traditional baptize.
But it's because
so I went in Kundwasa. I went in Kundwasa. As it does end like a simultaneously. So German in Kundwasa, let's do neurosurgeons. My dad is saying, the operation, no. My partner is saying no to the operation. And I kneel down, and then I'm very spiritual at that. And I say to God, listen, my mom actually who's my source of, strength when it comes to spirituality. She calls me, she says, listen, Tata Kialila, when I also Lila, but I can't say this now to her because also Lila. It's just that God wants you to have your own story to tell about your journey of becoming a leader. Let it be. Whatever God wants to happen will happen.
Yes.
Now I'm convincing my partner, life I want to climb a tree with you. There's a part there, so do you realize that the universe has made it possible? Because I wrote it down. That in because I'm such a believer. And my dad was a teacher of positive thinking. So whatever happens in life, my dad will always change the perception towards the sweet spot.
It's refreshing to hear you speak like this, because for me, first time I had I was like, what? She wanted to do photography. Hayi, qala uyokwenza i-career yami nyani, and then don't worry, you'll do your photography. And now she's lost her sight. I can't imagine how she feels. For me, that was, and I was so scared too.
A lot of people were scared to approach. But I promise you, I started thinking all these things, and eventually, but my prayer that particular day that my mom called me was to say to God, listen, I'm not sure if this is where you want me to be. I'm not sure if I'm doing it the right way. But in the end, is that you are a force that is present in my life. So what you're going to do now is that and you don't want me here, you yank me out. Because when I left the law, remember I studied law, I worked at the state attorney. And when I left, my prayer to God was, then we're going to move forward. That's all I ever said to God. I will not go anywhere else or do anything else without you. Whatever it is you want me to do, I'll do it in the So my belief is that strong in how much God carries me in my journey. So nyani ke, lo and behold, 6 months down the line, God has yanked me out. I've been yanked out because I'm having my dreams. I'm seeing different things, and things are not happening the way that they should be happening in my dreams. I see this man, and when I tell Utata, like, man, this description that you're giving me, and that's the other thing. I think a lot of people wonder about how I see people's faces.
Yes.
And I think because
no, but when I'll find
yes, exactly. Yeah. So I see people's faces. I'll see you, but if I have to, for instance, Unsika, I've never seen Unsika, right? So if Unsika, yes, I keep hearing over like. So for instance, I've seen you, Mastatu Ohave, for instance, because Ohave is a bit shorter than you, has a smaller frame, right? When I need to see Unsika in a dream, when Unsika wants to talk to me, his voice will be planted, and I will not see him as Ohave, but I will know that it's him. But I might see certain features that highlight to me that in Unsika. So I'll be able to say, Amehlo wako Angie. Because those are the features that I saw. So that's how.
A higher level.
Yeah.
That's a higher level, man.
So that's how people. Yeah, that's how people are presented to me. So I saw this man and I was able to describe him. And I was like, he's a beautiful man, Dada. Beautiful chocolate, smooth skin. What did I know? I remember this guy. In the community, there's a guy who was wearing a leather jacket. I want to find out where he stays. My dad found out where this guy stays. So I figure exactly the things he said he might do. And we had to journey with him for a while. And in that journey, he then let me know that abantu abakhulu abamukhokhelayo nabahamba nami bathi ayikho. That's not where I'm supposed to be. And I had never seen this woman in the Twasa wife.
Okay.
I've seen this man.
Exactly.
Because now saying business. But remember, at that point in time, there's an element of desperation. So if this is what it must be, let it be. So because I've never met this woman even in a dream, I was like, you know what, it's okay. With love and grace, so that's how I left Brazo.
So I told that woman. You have a conversation with the woman, but I'm good.
Yeah. If there's one thing you know about me, is that I'm bold. I will not shy away from something that will liberate you. And I was scared as well because my sister naye wayisengena uloma.
Okay.
So my move to leave this woman was a move for my sister to leave that space as well. So I understood that. So ndayomxelela remember, tata ukhathe kusangazi. I am asking such that on the day that I told her, and I had a dream where I take such a long time, like I'm looking for it, I can't find it, and I end up because to go holiday, like it was a crazy dream, and I realized I'm not supposed to be doing this with this woman. I knew it. But again, now we have to go emabandleni emabandleni xa kufikwa xa kusithiwa lelithu uthetha ulelethu akakwazi uthetha like exactly uyakwazi ukuma ne uzive thoughts zakho banazi nansi le nto zayithetha because your thoughts are playing in your mind. There was nothing. There was just silence. The voices in my head vacated my face. Ndashiyeka ndingenanto. I'm just there Eventually, my dad comes to me and I say, like, he comes to me and says, Leto, I'm like, man, you know, like, I was gone. And eventually, that I yanked me off, and I knew that day that it's not it. I'm not meant to be here. I let go of that process. Ceremonial, got a few friends of mine that guys, let's do a letting go ceremony. Letting go ceremony, I think I'm going to go into that she's using this trouble and let go, celebrate to life. So we went with this Ephondweni and I said to God, I'm letting go of the journey of being healed. And not letting go of the fact that I am a healer. Because if I am a healer, as I believe I am, I will move in my journey, continuing to heal. If there's anything else that you want me to learn about my journey, it will be magical as my grandmother used to tell those daughters about. I want it to happen that way if that's what but for now,
exactly, because this is a spirit world.
Exactly. So I said, for now, I want to dedicate my life to performing my poetry, understanding that's one of my healing tools. I want to create work that changes the lives of other people. I want to dedicate my life to the spirit source and the belief of warrior, such that even the people I surround myself with can feel the impact of God. And that's all I've been doing ever since.
So you quit the job before you lost the sight?
Yeah. I quit the job for
and you know now.
Why did I quit the job? I think
everyone wants the job.
Everybody wants a job, right?
Big
Man,
money.
And I was on the verge. I was on the verge of the big money. But here's the thing. But so when I read books, right? When I read how Oprah Winfrey has never, since she's been doing what she loves, she's never felt like she's working. I wanted that feeling too. I sat and I tried to find in my life, what is that one thing that is supposedly work, but to me does not feel like work? And I realized I get paid for performances. So ordinarily, people would think this is a job, but it doesn't feel like that. So, it's because something I love. When
but
you do what you love.
Job is difficult. Like resigning for the first time.
I don't know. I only resigned once, right? I don't know how difficult it is because of the fact that it also depends on the expectations and the kind. I didn't fortune, I'm blessed and full of God, and I don't want to take it for granted. I've never felt the impact of black tax on my life. And yes, my parents used to be happy with me just arriving with the carrot cake and the juice. That's all my parents were about. We've never experienced it. Only lately, I'm capable. Then we do it, but my parents have never asked for it. I've never felt that expectation, and I wouldn't speak for my siblings, but I never felt that expectation on me. It's my experience.
It's your duty also now to just carry that tradition.
Yeah, exactly. So it was easy for me to let go of my job because great. I also knew that I'm not disappointed in anyone. I'm not taking away sonka samtu. My parents are okay. Baya pangela, baya beya. So it was an easy one for me. I understand that for Omnium it might be difficult, but I was troublesome. I was a troublesome person. A caught him and the supeka enyama, abayamina bayaqwayiza ngeqhopsi, iyandibiza umanki, mama ehlala kutheni unxibe ibheki. I thought it was a black shoe that covered my toes. That's what the court will say, right? I don't suppose you that in your way. I don't want to be here. Then was funny. Then was funny. I would find something that attaches me to who I am. To show you that I knew that that's not who I was. Decide, I have to buy underwear, a polka dot, a colorful. So that now all I am attaching to in my spirit is this underwear? Abayazi ba phanjanisa imibala yo. So, and you know what I mean? To make it like a skin yam, so come colorful, because I knew that my life was more colorful than plain simple South African life. Yeah. Because also it shame it can be interesting, but I found it boring.
And also, what would have been your niche within the law of fraternity?
I think family law. Okay. Family law would have been more suitable for me. But with the way things are today, so many divorces and everything, I'm scared that I would have probably crumbled and because the emotional as well. I think
it's difficult to work in those spaces, because think about it, you have a fiance and you're just looking forward to this life, and every day of your life
you're looking at divorce.
You are literally discussing separations, divorces.
Yeah. What happens to the kids?
The house was sold.
So family law would have been excellent for me. But strangely enough, in work where I am, I'm starting to be excited. With drafted contracts for artists, and so I still law seems to not have been wasted on me.
Yes, so it would be the entertainment law. It's just that it's not big in South Africa. That's the thing.
But I somehow feel that Sunday. I remember I updated on Facebook once in the midst of in PE in particular, where artists, they tend to speak to each other anyhow. And I mentioned something about I wish that we could understand basic definitions of defamation of character, of criminal injuria, for an example, so that people just don't speak anyhow. And the idea came to me that, you know what, everyone needs to have a quarter and retain that. Because there's a lot that gets said about artists who are reliant on their character and the image that they portray to make their money, such that you need to protect yourself. So I feel slowly, surely, it's gonna happen. We are getting to that point where people will have to have, as part of their team, a legal representative.
I remember Takani during the Channel 4 days.
I remember.
He has moved in that space. Yeah, he's moved in that space, and it makes sense because he was always a lover of music. So he moved in that space, and I think it's a great space. Looking where we are as a space, as a Kabecha, as Eastern Cape, because I feel it's very important that we prepare ourselves.
Yeah, because I think artists are really vulnerable. Artists are naked in this space, and I'm saying this at this point in particular is Figela, but it just comes to mind that, for instance, we just got the news that we were Philippines. And made her dishonest in peace. And I want to believe that she's finally resting.
She's finally at peace.
After battling so much.
It's just us who will not be at peace.
Hey.
It's us who will not be at peace. I'm saying this because Lulu, you can't speak for Lulu and say potential. Because Lulu has proven herself to be a valuable asset, to whatever, broadcast house or media house up in. And for her life to end like this.
Yeah, I think the other thing for me that always pains me is the reference to even us as we sit here right now, right? We're referred to as the talent. And that's that. That's what we are. We are not necessarily the brains behind ideas. We are not the ones who must jungle. How long has it taken for artists to own their music? And to this day, there are artists who don't own their music. There are artists who don't own their image. How they portray themselves in front of people, they don't own that, right? And the way that I work with artists, for instance, I mean, I've grown enough now to be a businesswoman in the space of entertainment.
Yeah.
And the way that I work with artists is sometimes with a lot of empathy, in the sense that, you know, if a person is a hothead, a person is a hothead. And mine, because I understand that what I really want is to have them showcase Lendo by Patisiweyo to you know, to the greater community. Ndiyathanda ukugogosa.
And most of the time, artists don't realize what they are given, their power.
Yes, it's
crazy.
And I feel that, you know, when I remember the story of Sikalulu unfolding, with the knowledge of what she carried in her. Space
we
you know,
don't have
I don't
agencies,
know.
we don't have management in the Eastern Cape. The industry has not grown to that level. Perhaps that she had moved to, you know, say Josie, where ebezawuthi kwi-negotiations zakhe, and then there is the agency that negotiates with her or on her behalf. And also because you know that this is a talent, ekwenzela imali, then you're bound to protect that talent.
Yeah.
So here you have, in every 10 people, you have one artist. And the 9 other people don't understand what you're doing. Uba wanza the way of if you artist. You know? Yeah, you know what I mean? So I think also the odds, you know, against her, you know, the relationships that she's been through, you know, that broke her spirit, that, you know, sort of, because being in an abusive relationship or having a relationship matter or issue, it can make you or damage you and then want to address the behavior team.
Yeah. And I remember, you know,
something underlying.
My introduction to Lulu was that abusive relationship. She would see me performing with Zanzibar. And we could take notes. You know, because I wouldn't stay with Zanzibar. And I guess somehow she just fell in love with me and my poetry. We hadn't.
She lived in
Central, yeah. And we hadn't really engaged with each other besides a few, you know, introductory comments by Lakis and whatnot. And eventually she sent me an inbox on Facebook to say, I need to talk, I'm in danger. My partner, you know, impregnating with her. And ever since that moment, we had this beautiful sisterhood that where, you know, I was always forced to remember about Ukulu. You just check on her. And I would be excited for Ukulu. But it took a lot from her in terms of believing in herself. I would say to her, 9 to 12, get from the the whole South Africa over. There's nobody. Akekho umuntu osebenza kwi-African language station endinothi angaphuma kwesasisi ayongena kwisitishi esikhumshane. It's only you who can do it. But unfortunately, the relationship had damaged her so much that she still had a lot to relearn about herself and a lot of, you know, strength to muster up to even get up and say, you know what, I want to even bow out of the job and go for another radio station.
That's abuse. Abuse makes you doubt yourself. Because abusers, that's their currency. If you're a doubter, then good and well for them because they're able to make you puppeteer.
Yeah. But I want to say kudos to her. And I want to say I'm glad that I never, you know, took for granted a moment to say thank you to her, to say how great she was, because I know for a fact that today there wouldn't be a poetic soul who speaks in this manner. Whatever gap she saw in her show, she would say, Kaze kwenza poem
you're always there.
Kaze kwenza poem
Hey,
Kaze
you're camping then.
I was camping in that studio. So she really believed in my gift. She really believed in me. She was a true sister till the end. She vouched for me. I believe she was Kanyako. She was it.
I'm getting goosebumps now as we speak.
Yeah, I know. She was Kanyako.
Because the thing about Lulu is that like she was a believer.
Listen.
Think about you see in Loba where she comes from, Monty FM. Them living in a studio. They created work, like on the radio station. She was there. Now like here and them, always breaking new talent and what's happening up here. They carried that with them to Mhlolo. So in so many ways, because I would say our first, primetime interview, she was instrumental. Because she's Ohe's cousin. And then they got to listen to Kulikan, non-signal slides. And then it was a conversation in between them, I think it was 2004, to say, look, we can't let these guys go. If these ones go to Joburg, that's for sure they're going to make it. And now we feel shitty because we never gave them the chance. Because remember when we recorded that song, Go Vincent, the English song, the only radio station that played it, not say in the world or in South Africa, wasn't sure. The English lines.
Sure.
I understand. And it stems from in the Yoruba, they had those conversations with Lulu because Lulu is a believer.
Yeah, I know. She was a great believer. She was a great believer.
And that abuse dimmed that light.
Yeah.
It dimmed that light. And when you're under pressure.
Again, City, I wish I'm not even trying to shut people up who will say she was given so many chances. And whatnot. But I beyond that, element of the alcoholism, you can't help but feel the presence of other elements.
Yes.
In her departure. You can't help but feel that way, especially if you were a person who stayed in touch with her. To just understand ukuthi and Kanye in Jane and Janina Kuba, but there were other elements. I know myself around alcohol because basically she was forced to become an alcoholic because she had a lover like that.
We dealt with symptoms. I never really looked at the cause. When's it gonna do? Because this is the other, like the industry is fake, one. And the people who sometimes are close to you, they're close because you have something to give. Uzibona xa ungenando to give, and then you realize, what? There's no one next to you. So that's where the problem is. I think Ululu dealt with that, and it must have been difficult. Going to, like taking your last breath, and just knowing that everyone is just talk. People are just gonna put a status on social media. Just, they can get a clout because they've used your name.
Who was recently, there was a guy or a girl, I don't know, on Facebook who had said in 2023, let's get really back into it.
Yeah, I remember.
That touched my heart, and I never stopped praying that Lulu will shock us one day. I think the announcement or something. I don't know why I always associated her with Lulu 2000.
No, she would have been.
She would have killed it. She would have killed it. And I think I want to say kudos to Past, that the DJ, for the interview that he did podcast, with Ululu, because
radio. Shout out to Zooming into Radio.
Because even more is not having a reference of who Lulu is. Is not hearing her voice tell her story. And I think that's why for me podcasting is so important.
Yes.
For us to be able to archive our stories in that way too. And for us to be able to speak their voices zethu in that archive. Because it's one thing for somebody to collect articles as the Poetic Soul. It's another for Poetic Soul to say, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is how I did it, and this is where I'm going, this is how I feel. Exactly.
Yeah,
so, Nyani, Pastor the DJ, kudos.
Yeah,
great job.
We'll
and I think
this...
that's going to be an iconic interview.
Yeah, man. It's been a great one. We'll call this a podcast. I don't know what we're going to call this podcast.
I don't know either.
Let's think on it. You at home, you can help us think about the names and how we can do this. In fact, let's just have conversation and then let this develop and do whatever it is. It's a great conversation. Till the next time. We're going to do it again. There's a next time, right?
There is a next time.
Okay. Alright. Badge.
Oh, Pinky promise.
Yeah, Pinky promise. There's gonna be a next time.
Definitely there's a next time. There's a next time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And shout out to the whole team in the place to be.
There's a whole team.
Yeah.
There's a whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.